Valheim is a game known for its time-consuming exploration and difficulty. But what if you took an already hard game and cranked those sliders to the max? No map, no portals, no choosing boss fights, using all my skills and items on death. Enemies do big damage, I do small damage. What kind of bozo would put himself through such a challenge? And I'll be going in solo. I would spend the next 100 hours attempting to get as far as I could in a world where all the odds were against me. And this is how it went. First spawning into the world, I knew in order to survive Hardcore Valheim, I would need to do a couple of things right away. I would need to build a shelter in order to sleep through the night, make starting gear sufficient enough to protect me from the increased monster difficulty, and I would need to figure out a way of ensuring I wouldn't get lost without a map. So I started my first of many bases. Because I couldn't use portals, I would have to build a multitude of bases as I progressed. I wanted my first base to be next to the boss trophy altar, which is luckily near the coast. Completing my first task, I was ready to explore the surrounding area and upgrade my gear, which is vital in hardcore since not only do enemies do more damage to you, you also do less damage to them. So to help mitigate that, I set out to craft one of the best early game weapons you could acquire in Valheim, the fine wood bow. Get this hive. That should be it. Getting this bow meant I could easily take down any creature in the plains or the Black Forest as long as I kept my distance. But I also wanted to keep safe from the attacks that would eventually land, so I went hunting to upgrade my armor and food. Reaching the Black Forest, I needed to find a way to explore inland without getting myself lost. Sure, I could always follow the coast and find my way back home, but that wouldn't work if I was going to find bosses. That's where the most underrated tool in Hardcore Valheim comes into play, the hoe. Using the pathing tool, I created a system of trails that would always lead me right back home, and I used this to build a path all the way from my base to the first boss altar. Wanting to quickly secure my first boss kill, I went back home to prepare to fight Eikthyr the next morning, building a small campsite near the summon to maximize the time I would get the rested buff, which increases health regen, stamina regen, and XP gain, a crucial buff to maintain pretty much at all times. Oh shit. Although taking some unnecessary damage, I was quickly able to get into a rhythm of dodging, kiting, and shooting, and was pretty easily able to whittle Eikthyr down. After a little over 2 hours of first starting, I was able to kill the first boss, making me think that beating hardcore would be easy, but I would eventually find out how wrong I was. There it is. First one down. Crafting the antler pickaxe, I worked on expanding my paths to the nearby Black Forest biomes, making it easy for me to travel back and forth from the dungeons and mining nodes back to my base. This zone came with its own set of new things that I had to do to advance. I would need to find dungeons in order to get the materials I needed to craft the smelter and kiln. I then needed to mine copper and tin and transport it back to my base. And also, I needed to find and kill trolls in order to upgrade my gear. That is a lot of dudes. If you guys didn't know already, these stones in hardcore don't function as they do in the normal version of the game. Instead of giving you an exact location, they just point your character in the right direction. Something I would learn is not very helpful. Oh, I'm dead. After that led me to nothing. I went back to base to prepare for the Black Forest dungeons, which I would need to clear in order to get the very important Certling cores. Going into my first dungeon, I brought my hammer and some wood in order to build cooking stations and campfires to keep me safe. Oh my god. Being surprised by the amount of damage those skeletons could deal, I had to rethink my strategy. Can get a shield. Hopefully, that's good enough. There's a smoldering core. Got one. First dungeon cleared. Just need a shield. Using those same strategies, I quickly began clearing all the dungeons in my area.
Oh god, there's a lot of skeletons. More cores.
There. Ow. Ow. Although scary at times, I managed to grab all the cores I needed.
Oh, Lord.
And after placing down my smelter and charcoal kiln, I was ready for some mining. Little did I know, it would draw unwanted attention.
There we go. There's one down.
Using my manly hit and run tactics, I was able to bring down my first troll. Now, back to mining. Crafting my first piece of troll armor and collecting my first copper bar, I then went out to find tin. There's a boat. Mining all the tin I could carry, I went back to base to start smelting. Alright, we've made it to Bronze Age without dying. Not bad. After making my first bronze bar, I was ready to take the next step in my adventure. I wanted to make myself as strong as I could be, because dying would reset all my hard-earned stats. So the first thing I would need to do is get more copper and tin, not only to make better equipment, but to also make a cauldron, which would allow me to cook better foods and expand my health pool. I also need to explore my island in hopes of finding the next boss, the Elder.
Jeez, man.
My first raid was pretty simple. All I had to do was kite the Great Orcs and run out the clock. But in hardcore, they come more frequently. And as you defeat more bosses, the raids get harder. I have to find a better way to protect myself during these raids. As I searched the Black Forest for materials, my paths began to grow, and I started to faintly understand my island's layout. At least, so I thought.
Alright. They're all dead.
Having to make long trips back and forth to my base, I utilized the towers hidden throughout the forest and turned them into places I could rest and store loot. My path finally hitting a coast, I thought this would be a good time to mine tin. Getting my cauldron down, I thought it was about time to set up a carrot farm. $80 copper and a long way from home. Mining everything I needed, all that was left to do was to take it back home, which of course meant more running. Using my bronze to craft better equipment, I was now ready to explore my island in hopes of finding the Elder. But having already explored 2 black forests, I decided to follow the coast.
Cool.
Oh shit. Run away. Alright. After having a close call with the troll, I found another island connected by a land bridge. Since I hadn't had any luck on my island, I decided I would go take a look, but was sure to leave a marker on the coast to find my way back. I somehow rounded back to my house. Alright. After crossing over, I somehow ran right back into my base. I guess I didn't know the layout of the island as well as I thought I did. I took this opportunity to tend my garden and cook better food, and then I decided to run back down the coast and keep going instead of crossing the land bridge. Another stone pointing me towards the ocean. It would seem that finding the boss would be harder than I first thought. Exploring random villages and running through multiple black forests, I traveled for days, but still didn't find what I was looking for. Oh, it's a swamp. Not being what I set out to find, it was still nice to know that I wouldn't have to leave my island to collect iron when the time came.
Stronger on it.
Kind of fucked them up. Ooh. Feeling safe on this little swamp island, I collected all the resources I could. Guck sack. There's a fucking troll out here. Why is there a troll out here? God, that was bad. After spending the night, I left the island, not knowing that this small strip of land would have a big role in the future. With my upgraded weapons, I confidently edged my way around the larger part of the biome, easily dispatching all the enemies that came my way. But this would prove to be a big mistake. What? Did he just one-shot me? Just a little over 10 hours into my journey, I had died in just one hit through my shield to a 1-star Draugr. I had been too confident and underestimated how brutal the damage in hardcore could be. Now, I was back at the start, losing all the hours of progress I had made, not only losing my gear, but all the skills I had leveled up. To most, this would be the end, but to me, this is just the beginning. We're back. Using the leftover resources in my base, I crafted the basics I would need to farm it all back, and that's what I did over the course of the next couple hours.
I'm gonna make the bronze axe first. Last upgrade.
Still not quite at the same level in gear that I was before I died. I still wanted to make my way back to set up an outpost that would serve as my home base when it came time to explore the swamp. So setting out, I had some new goals for the next leg of my journey. First, I wanted to make my way back to the swamp. Next, I wanted to set up some sort of second base. And then, I still needed to find out the location of the Elder. After about a day's journey, I was able to make it back to the swamp. And looking back on the island, that's where a base idea began to form. A Valheim classic that was not only easy to build, but safe from raids. And that base was, of course, the treehouse. And I thought this was the perfect location for one, because I could have all the benefits of building a treehouse, but also because the island was so small, I could make it so all the dangerous swamp creatures wouldn't spawn.
Add a support right here.
That's looking good. Now I just gotta do the house. Now, if you guys didn't know already, why these bases are so easy to build is because these particular trees in the swamp are unbreakable, and when building in them, they act the same as the ground in terms of structural support. And because I'm building with 2 trees right next to each other, I don't really need to worry about stability.
That'll work. Here's the upstairs. It's a little bare right now, but down here is where I'll sleep. Have a little workbench. Not bad.
Having completed the shell of my treehouse, all I needed to do was complete the interior. Since it was located next to a black forest, I could easily get copper and tin, but I still needed to transfer some of my stuff to my new base. Because of that, I returned to my starter in order to grab some materials needed to get my treehouse up and running. Stupid.
I place this in here? No way. Oh shit. Oh, he's coming. He doesn't see me. I think we're good. Now that the treehouse was mostly done, I wanted to explore the general area in order to get my bearings and potentially find the Elder or a faster route back to my starter. So I took out my trusty hoe and went to work. Ah, there's a mountain here. And right back at the coast. After the disappointment of yet again being led to the ocean, I wanted to do some fighting, so I decided I was going to explore a little bit of the swamp. Oh, there he is. Wait, he's dying so easily. Wow. I didn't know that one had a bow. Bro, there's so many of them. I'm whiffing. Oh shit. No, no, no. No, stop. Okay. After getting my blood flowing a little bit, I decided it was probably best to come back when I was a little more prepared, and I really needed to find the next boss, so I decided I would run around my whole island and explore the Black Forest in an attempt to locate him. This is that one I crossed that one time, I'm pretty sure. Maybe now it's not marked. If I don't find them, I might have to go over there. Oh, there's another one. Spotting 2 separate coastlines in the distance, I knew that I had other options if I couldn't find the Elder in the forest nearby.
There's one lonely swamp tree here. Oh no, there's a swamp. Okay.
After spending hours running down the coast and exploring forests, I still had no luck. Finding the bosses was seeming to be one of the more challenging things about hardcore. At this point, I was at a crossroads. Should I go sailing and leave everything I built to go searching faraway lands? Or should I keep exploring the area around me in case I missed it? But after spending 25 hours on this island, I was pretty certain I wasn't going to be able to find them here. But I knew I didn't want to lose access to the boss trophies, not yet at least. So that limited me to really only one option: find a way to sail, but not get lost. So that brings me back to the 2 islands I saw while exploring. Exploring these islands would ensure I'd be able to find my way back home. So I went back to my treehouse to gather all the materials I would need to set sail. But there is still one question: which island should I go to? And that's when I went back to the first boss stone I ever discovered, which pointed me right towards the further island. After my very short first ocean journey, I looked to set up some sort of base camp that I could use as a point of reference for my trail systems.
It's a mountain over there in the distance. Look at that. Thing's huge.
Finding an abandoned village right up the coast from where I landed, I went to work converting one of the homes to a safe place to stay. And after that, I was ready to go searching the unexplored forests. After an hour or two, I finally came across my first lead.
Alright, so it's back towards the main part. Holy shit. No way. I found it. Almost 30 hours it took me to find that. 30 hours. It's right by a river.
Finally locating the Elder, I quickly worked to secure the area and find a place nearby to sleep, knowing I would fight him the next morning.
Alright, I think I'm pretty much ready. They're all spawned. On to the next. Keep going around. Should be one more rotation here. Oh. Easy. There it is.
Using my bow and arrow, I was easily able to take down the Elder. Now all that was left for me to do was to make it home safely. Something easier said than done.
Now we just have to find my way back. I think I'll just follow the coast. It seems like I traversed a lot of the island, so I didn't get a crypt key. Oh my god, I almost forgot to pick up the crypt key. This kind of looks like where I landed. There it is. I do wonder if I just follow this coast, should I be able to hit the swamp? I mean, I have little shelters along the shore too, so I should be able to tell. That must be that other island I saw, first one. Whoops. Is that my shelter?
Making my way down the coast of my starter island, I was hoping I'd be able to sail all the way back to my base using a river that I thought was near the treehouse.
There was a river run down the center between the swamp and the mainland. I wonder if I could use that to get through, or if it's too shallow. There's the swamp. This must be the little inlet that I was talking about. Alright, we need a slow pace here. I don't want to get too close to the swamp. It would be better if it wasn't raining. Yeah, I can't pass. I am scared. I'm deathly scared. Oh my gosh. Okay. Fuck the boat. Run. I'll come back for that later. Whew. I almost just lost the crypt key. At least I'm home. Alright. We're back. After a close call, I was able to make it back to the treehouse safely. Now that I had acquired the swamp key, I was now able to explore the dungeons and mine iron. But everybody that's played Valheim knows that the swamp is where the difficulty really starts to ramp up, so I needed to take my time and keep my distance from enemies. But there was one way I could reduce spawns and make traversing the swamp better. Certain objects in Valheim stop enemies from spawning, the crafting bench being one of them. And although not being the most efficient option, the crafting bench is good because you can see the radius of the no spawn zone because it's the same as the building area. I would use this strategy in order to cut down on the endless mobs that seem to spawn in the swamp. Another tactic I used was converting every crypt into a makeshift base. I did this in order to have a safe place to retreat and to remove the wet debuff that you would always have while traveling through the swamp. And using these tactics, I was able to remain relatively safe. Now that I had found a safe way to take on the swamp, there's a couple things I wanted to accomplish. First, I wanted to get iron to upgrade my gear. Then I needed to find and grow turnips so I could cook better food. Lastly, I wanted to kill abominations so I could collect roots, which are used to make one of the best pieces of armor in Valheim, the root harness. Finally getting iron, I unlocked the stone cutter, which I would use for some base modifications. Iron is one of the most prevalent crafting materials in the game, and that means I would have to collect a lot of it throughout my playthrough, so I worked on clearing out every crypt I could in my nearby swamp.
Yeah, if there was a 1-star archer Draugr, you could definitely just one-tap me. Oh my god.
Alright, 21 iron back. I knew that it'd probably be a long time until I found bone mass, which is actually not a required boss to advance to silver, if you use a method that I will show you later. So I began brewing frost resistance for when I would eventually make my way into the mountains.
Wow. Okay. Ugh.
Even after upgrading my weapons, I was still dealing pretty shit damage. As much as I would like to go in melee, I really did not want to get one shot, and I don't have much faith in my dodging ability. It seems like I'd have to stick to my safe bow and arrow playstyle, at least while dealing with the more difficult enemies. Free. Okay, you can't fit through there. Nice. After clearing that last crypt, I went exploring to hunt abominations and to check if there was anything else in my swamp. Well, hello. Now these guys are resistant to pierce, but are very susceptible to axes, so usually the way you'd kill them is with an axe, but they hit extremely hard even in base Valheim, so I wanted to keep my distance and use fire arrows because they are weak to fire. And after about 8 minutes of kiting, I was finally able to bring him down. After killing a few more and depositing the materials at the base, all I needed to do was collect some ancient bark in order to craft the red harness, but I would end up getting distracted. Nah. I might die to that. Oh no, man. I had forgotten to drink one of the 9 poison resistance potions in my inventory, which in turn led me to die to just one single bite from a normal leech. And there were ways I probably could have lived, but I kind of panicked. And because of that, I had just lost all the iron gear I spent hours making. Not to mention all those stats that I had built up over the last 20 or so hours. But that's what happens when you play Hardcore Valheim. It's not for the weak. So I of course scrounged up all the remains of gear I had left and decided to take another run around my whole island in order to build my skills back up to a respectable level. There's the swamp right there. How big is this swamp? There's a jogger right there. I don't really want to go into it. It looks pretty small because you can see the black forest on the other side of it. All sides of it. Man, it looks... Oh my god. Is that what it is? I must have passed this the first time I went around. Oh my god.
Oh, this is so big. Okay. This changes everything. It's right next to the small swamp. In between the mountain and the small swamp.
Alright. I think I'll head back to base then. Can't believe he's on my starting island. Seems pretty rare. And right after I died, Valheim decided to bless me with finding Haldor, which I honestly didn't have much faith in finding at all, considering that I didn't have a map, and I would just have to luckily run straight into him. But this, of course, is a huge find, because now I could buy the belt, which would grant me 150 pounds of extra carry weight, and I could buy Ymir flesh, which is used to craft one of the best weapons in the game, Frostnir. Using the resources I'd collected before I died, I made the bread harness and I harvested my newly made turnip farm, which unlocked the next tier of food for me. This is when I decided to try to check out the mountains that were next to the trader. And this is where the Stag Breaker silver locating method comes into play. For those who don't know, when you use the Stag Breaker to slam the ground, it usually does damage to anything hit, or at least shows a 0. But if there's a silver vein underneath you, it will instead show you a message that reads, "Too hard." Although this method is more time consuming, it's a fantastic way of getting silver early. This mountain too small.
Traversing to the larger mountain that was located right next to the small swamp and trader, I built a small outpost that I could use as a safe house while venturing into the mountains.
I did survive one hit from a wolf. So maybe a shield would have been good.
After a close encounter with a wolf that snuck up on me, I knew that I would have to take it very slow and sneak my way up, ideally taking out any enemy before they noticed me.
That's it.
This was not it. Yes, it did show the too hard text, but it was because of the obsidian that I failed to notice even while standing on top of. But no matter what, I still thought my first journey into the mountains was a success. Now I needed to head back to my base and figure out how I was going to acquire more iron in order to make the iron pickaxe, which is needed to mine silver and obsidian. I, of course, completely cleared out the 3 crypts that were located in my swamp, so I would have to find another swamp to clear. So I decided to sail back to Elder Island because I ran across a swamp while exploring it.
I think I have everything I need. Right where I left it. Wow, that's the first time I actually went in the ocean. I'm pretty sure the swamp is too small. The swamp that I initially thought of ended up being too small, so I kept on sailing. There's another swamp. It's not on the second island, but as long as I remember how to get back. Oh, there's a swamp over there too. If I land over here, build a little base over here, I can measure the swamp like that. Making landfall in a small outcropping of Black Forest, I worked on clearing the monsters and building a shelter. My only goal of this voyage was collecting some iron, just enough to make a pickaxe and some basic equipment, and quickly check for bone mass. My gear was honestly pretty bad, so once I was able to get some silver, I could come back and farm all the iron I would need safely. What? Alright, there's a problem. I just completely fucked my boat. That means mosquitoes could be here too. Bronze nails. Black metal scrap. Knowing that there were feelings on my shoreline, I had to be extra careful. But I didn't come all this way to go back empty-handed. So I cautiously made my way to the swamp. Who's shipping? This is a problem. Got 30 seconds arrested. I thought it was only if you had a certain amount of stuff in the area. I'm gonna have to run. It's too many. Okay, has 2 crypts. Not bad. What is that? Is that another trader? Oh, that must be the Bog Witch. Right? I don't know much about that update. Honestly. I don't know if that's good. That must be good, right? Should I go check out this Bog Witch quick? Like a safe zone, too? It's like a trader. What is this? It's kind of cool. Candlewick
Love potion? I don't know what any of this stuff does. Interesting though.
I may not have known it then, but that trader was a huge discovery and would help me in the future when I ventured into the plains.
What is going on here? I don't like this at all. I can't kill him, I should just run. That makes me really nervous. I'm just gonna get ambushed by one of them. Where is he coming from, bro? This time he ran from over here. Like where is plains over here at all? Like if he runs up on me and just one taps me, because I guarantee he could. I'm getting off this island as soon as I possibly can. I'm gonna lead. 20, nice. Another 20.
After only clearing one crypt, I was able to find 84 iron, which was enough for now, so I decided I would pack up and head home.
I think the right up here is the second island. And then I just follow that coastline all the way down to my original island starter. I think this is my starter mountain in the distance. So if I go towards it and around the left instead of going all the way around to the right, hit the swamp, I could maybe just pull up right to the swamp on my boat. I think I'm gonna risk it. Oh no, this is the smaller one. Or maybe this is a completely different island. And I'm getting myself lost. Is this familiar? Does kind of look familiar. Kinda getting nervous that I fucked up here. No, 'cause that's a mountain right there. That's a bigger mountain. Yep, that's the swamp. Okay. I did not fuck up. It's gonna be really hard to find the bosses, man. I don't know how I'm gonna find bone mass. I'm just gonna have to keep exploring random swamps till I find them. There it is. That was a long boat ride, actually. Oh, we made it.
After getting back home, I smelted down my iron and made some better equipment. Then I decided to take my valuables to Haldor. Just for reference, this run is about a day and a half of in-game days, around 30 minutes. After collecting what I needed, I ran back to base to get ready to venture up into the mountains in search for silver. Wanting more storage space and a faster vessel, I upgraded my boat to the longship.
Damn.
And then I gathered up my pickaxe, food, and potions for the long trip. I also made sure to take plenty of stone with me because building up with the hoe is a good way to counter the fast wolves of the mountains. I decided to take a small detour to my starter base to pick up miscellaneous supplies I wanted to take to the main base.
As the snow look not very crossable. We're good, we're good.
Sailing to the mountain was not really faster than running, mainly because I had to sail around the whole island. But in order to bring back the silver to my base, I would need a boat there. From this first real trip into the mountains, I wanted to find and mine silver, hunt wolves and drakes for the crafting materials, and hopefully find some onion seeds. As long as I kept my distance and used my bow, it seemed like I was pretty safe. But the one thing I was worried about is getting snuck up on by a wolf and not noticing. So I spent most of my time crouched so I could see if there was anything alerted.
I'm actually doing a lot of damage to these guys.
Because I didn't have a good close-range weapon, I was forced to run away if confronted by a wolf. I would have tried an iron shield, but after seeing the one-star dragger one-shot me, I was not very confident an iron shield could block the damage. After learning I mistook obsidian for silver, it was back to using the stag breaker. I had finally found my first silver vein, but unfortunately I also aggroed a golem, and he would continue to annoy me the whole time I was trying to mine.
Well, this is not gonna work. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Okay. I think we're good. Just gotta lock in here. Wait, I'm actually dialed right now. Wow, that was scary. After a little more digging, I was finally able to find it. And slowly but surely, I dug out the silver vein. Silver deposits also count as shelter, so I used it to keep my rested buff up, repair my antler pickaxe, and to go to sleep if it got too dark. I used the method that I remembered where you dig out the whole vein and try to mine it all at once, but it seemed maybe I did something wrong because it wasn't working as intended. This guy for real. You might be asking, hey, why not just kill the golem? Well, you see, my arrows do like no damage to him, and they have about 1,000 health or so, and I really didn't want to sit there and shoot over 100 arrows at it. The best way to kill golems is actually with a pickaxe or a mace, but I wasn't going anywhere near that thing. He eventually ended up running in the opposite direction and didn't come back, which allowed me to freely mine what I could. The strategy worked a little bit. I continued to mine until my pickaxe broke. Making the first run of silver safely back to my outpost, I went to bed happy because just how good things were going thus far. Alright, cannot get hit again. Oh fuck. Alright, we're good. Or not good. Dead again. All my items, all my skills, all gone for the third time. This one was a hard one, I'm not gonna lie. I was tempted to give up, but then I looked at the bright side. At least I was able to get some silver back to safety. So, after moping around for a bit, I took the long, sad ride back to the treehouse. And after coming home, I picked up the pieces and went to work. Gathering up all the leftovers I had in my base, I crafted a silver shield to help protect me. This time I would try to balance my skills and not just rely fully on bows. If I was going to survive the fast and hard-hitting wolves, I would need to be able to fight them in close quarters. But for now I wanted to secure the silver I had left on the mountain, so I headed back and slowly and carefully made my way up using just troll armor and a fine wood bow. If I was going to progress and kill the bosses, I needed to stop losing everything, so I was going to do my best to make myself as strong as I could, and take things slowly and safely from now on. Having your bow skill reset is probably one of the worst feelings in Valheim, because as you level, not only does it increase the damage, it also increases your draw speed, and it really hurts going from 50 to 0. But despite being really weak, I was able to make it back up and grab the leftover silver. Now all I needed to do was to get it home and decide what to do with it. Package secured. Having a limited amount of silver, I needed to craft efficiently to make the best out of the resources I had, so I decided I was going to craft the Fang Spear. Although spears are considered fairly weak because of their weird hitbox, they do have some advantages like high attack speed, faster skill progression, and they're able to be thrown. But most importantly, it only costs 2 silver to craft, a ridiculously good value for a silver tier weapon, especially if you compare it to Frostnir, which requires 30 silver to craft. Using my leftover silver, I crafted the Drake helmet, which would give me 20 armor without slowing down my movement speed. Now being pretty well equipped, I needed to restock my iron, so I grabbed my crypt key and went to a nearby island I had scouted out earlier while trying to build my skills. After getting the iron I needed to recraft my pickaxe, plus a little more. It was time to head back to the mountain in hopes of getting more silver. I wanted to make myself as strong as possible, and to do that I would need to find a couple more silver nodes. And I was still using weaker swamp foods, so I really needed to explore the mountain to find onion seeds. Plus, I wanted to check out the Frost Caves dungeon once I was better equipped. So I hopped on my boat for the long ride down the coast. Having a silver shield and weapon did help a lot, but I would need to hit my parries to be able to block the wolves' attacks, still making it pretty risky to fight them without a bow. I would need to take it slow if I wanted to survive.
Finally getting back to my first silver vein, I finished mining it. And after depositing the resources, I went back up to look for more. Didn't have to wait long to find more silver, locating another vein right next to my first one. But unfortunately, the stone golem was back. I used the same tactic as last time. I lured it away and caused it to run up the mountain far away from where I needed to mine. And then I was ready to go.
Wow, these ones are right next to each other. Crazy.
I attempted to use the same method to mine the silver, digging around it and trying to mine it all at once, but it still wasn't working that well.
Are you serious?
Usually the whole vein gets destroyed at once, but mine was only coming off in sections. Better than nothing, but this would still cause my pickaxe to eventually break.
We'll go put all the goodies on the boat. Can't mine the rest of the silver. I mean, I'll have enough for Frostnir. And probably both pieces of armor. I wanted them. I have 3 fangs as well. I mean, maybe I should just explore a little bit up there. God damn it. That works.
After finding onion seeds, I would head home to smelt down the ore and craft better gear for when I came back. Overall, this is a pretty successful trip. So I forgot to press record. That's alright. This is what I made so far. I made the silver armor, and I made Frostnir. But now we're all out of silver again, so might have to go back. Hello. Slowly expanding my onion farm, I replanted the seeds and headed back to the mountain to collect the rest of the silver. Now, having upgraded armor and weapons, I was hoping I'd have an easier time fighting the countless enemies that harassed me. And that's when I ran across my first serpent, which would actually be a big help in my future battles. Serpent meat is actually one of the best things to collect early on in Valheim, being able to make serpent stew, which is an amazing health food, even in the plains. Making my way back to the mountain on my boat takes about 40 minutes, a little more time than on foot, but I needed to bring the boat there in order to transport any silver I mined. So I would park it here for now until I had another payload to bring back to my base. You guys may have noticed, despite the bow being my primary weapon, I chose not to craft the Draugr. Instead, I chose to stick with the Huntsman bow. That's because the Huntsman bow is more silent, causing it only to alert creatures within 4 meters of a hit target, as opposed to 8 meters while using the Draugr. And in hardcore, the less creatures attacking you, the better. So I thought it was worth the slight damage loss. How'd you get in there, buddy? I might. Got him. Those golems take a lot of arrows to kill, but at least it's a good way of building my archery skill. Hey! Mining all that I could from that one, I collected some obsidian and decided to make the run home. I did this instead of taking my boat, not only because it's a little faster, but because I could also level my skills along the way. Although I couldn't take with me all the silver I had mined, I figured I couldn't really craft much with the amount I had anyway. I would need to mine more to make it worth it to sail. So for now, I would be on foot, grinding my skills as I went. and after getting home, I did some minor upgrades and ran right back. I had been looking at this frost cave ever since I started exploring the mountains, and now I figured it was a good time to clear it. I'd been avoiding it mostly because I have never done one before, since I haven't played the game since it first came out. But I know that these dungeons can drop Fenris claws and hair, which can be used to craft the Fenris armor set, which provides a movement speed boost instead of the downgrade that armor usually does. And if I could craft the set, it would help me run back and forth to my base faster. This would be nice since I couldn't use portals. I slowly made my way through the frost caves, mostly afraid of the cultists because they do fire damage, which usually does a lot of damage in normal Valheim, so I figured it would probably kill me in hardcore. So I crept through and tried taking everything out with my bow. Killing him in just one shot, I made sure to stay away from him because they explode on death, dealing a lot of damage. And with that, I collected my first Fenris hair and claws. Alright, that's a lot of damage. Run. Oh shit. That was close. Yo, what the fuck? Holy shit. Yep, I'm out. Haha. Why are there so many of them, bro? No, there's another one. After that one close call, I was able to stealth my way through the rest and clear it, but unfortunately, I did not find enough materials to craft anything, but at least I knew I could do them going forward. Still light outside. Good. Hitting day 200 in my world, I was feeling pretty good. It has been slow progress, but at least I've been pretty successful exploring my mountain. And now it was time to track down another vein and see if I could find anything else of use. If any of you have played Hardcore Valheim, let me know how long it took you to advance in the comments. Oh, looks like there is another silver vein here. Looks like I'm kind of on the highest part of this mountain and I don't see any dragon eggs or anything. Probably means the boss is not on here. I figured it probably wouldn't be. Oh no, there's one dragon egg right there. Okay. 200 weight, aren't they? There's a wolf down there too. One dragon egg. I mean, maybe there is the boss on this mountain, you never know. To summon the mountain's boss, I would need to collect 3 of these dragon eggs. So I decided to bring it down to my boat and bank it. Then I decided to make a quick trip home to replenish my food and tend my farm. I got 40 almost wolf meat. That's pretty good. Fuck off. Wow. Crazy. Wolves are scary, bro. After almost being destroyed by a wolf, I hiked up and set up a small outpost next to the silver I'd found earlier. Having places to sleep in the mountains is absolutely necessary because at night, Fenrings come out, and I did not want to try fighting them. Oh my god, it respawned. One-third of this vein was in a rock, and I couldn't be bothered to try to dig it all out. So I collected what I could and got out of there. Sailing back home, I felt like I finally got what I needed to take the next step in my adventure. Now it was time to track down bone mass and advance my world. But in hardcore, you can't simply just run to the next boss. I would need to spend hours trying to find it. So I would gear up and craft what I needed for this long journey. After getting everything I needed, it was time to set sail, and I had a plan which I thought of after seeing the location of the Elder Boss. I wouldn't just run into random swamps in hopes of finding the skull. I would conserve my resources and sail the coastline in hopes of spotting it from a distance. This might take longer, but I thought this would be the safest and would overall save me time going back and forth to restock and repair my gear.
Okay, I'm gonna go kill bone mass. It's about time. See how that's flat over there? That's probably a swamp. Maybe check that out. Let's see how big this looks. I don't know if size really affects it, but... Oh, that's plains over there. Plains not too far away from my main base, actually. That's not bad at all. Yeah, I could set up a farm there easily. Be sure to stay away from it for mosquitoes, though. I think I could sail around and hopefully just find the skull from the shoreline. I mean, otherwise I'm just going to be running through swamps non-stop, right? Just keep going around my island, just because I'm curious. Mountain, it looks like, over there. This still looks like plains. What's over here? Oh, there's some black forest, at least. Should I land here or not? Oh. Sick. Wow. Some mistlands over there. Planes everywhere.
And after exploring for what felt like forever, I had finally found what I was looking for.
Wait. That's it? I think that's the skull right there. I couldn't really tell. Well, shit, now I actually need to look in here. I think that was the skull. It looked like a boulder, but boulders don't really spawn that big in the swamp. So here's the problem. I have to be really efficient, so I cannot break my stuff.
Thankfully, my plan worked, and now it was time to prepare to fight Bone Mass.
Alright. Well, we are going to make our standard shelter over here. I don't have the rest of it. I'm a little nervous. Clear out some of the area around it. So the main thing is just kiting him around the skull. Something a little more room to breathe here. I'm gonna re-rest.
Bone Mass is very resistant to pierce, so my bow wouldn't be very effective, but he's also weak to frost and blunt, so to counter him I'd be using Frostneer, but mostly the 120 frost arrows I'd crafted, which I hoped would be enough to take him down.
Got a lot of health. I'll stamp.
not gonna have enough arrows. Oh boy. Only have 7 arrows left. That does nothing. Bang! There we go.
Being my longest and hardest boss fight yet, I was still able to take him down without any major problems.
That was a lot harder than I expected it to be. I thought we'd honestly easily kill that. Alright, it's time to see if we can find our way back home. The main reason I was kind of putting off killing Bone Mass was because I really didn't want to fight the mountain raids. That's when you start getting the wolves and stuff, and I mean, one wolf is hard for me to take on even with silver gear. So I can't imagine having two. It's gonna be a long boat ride back, that's for sure.
Luckily, it was fairly good weather while I was trying to find Bone Mass, but I wouldn't get the same luck on my way back, and I struggled to keep myself going in the right direction and not getting lost. So after spending an hour or more in the boat, I finally made my way back to my base. And after doing some sorting and upkeep, it was finally time to turn in the boss trophies from the Elder and Bone Mass. Three down, 4 to go. And here is why, all this time, I didn't want to lose where the boss trophy archer was. And it was, of course, to get one of, if not the best, Forsaken powers in the game. That being Bone Mass's power. It provides resistance to physical damage types, which I thought would be especially useful in hardcore to reduce the massive damage enemies deal. I would miss Eikthyr's power, which is still good, but becomes less so as you get better stamina foods and higher running and jumping skill. But now, as I approach 100 hours, I wanted to get ready for the next leg of my journey. Since I had already explored all the mountains on my island, I wanted to revisit the massive one I saw near Elder Island, since it was the biggest one I've seen so far and was relatively close. There I would try to find a safe place to land and set up a base, so I could explore in hopes of finding the next boss, Motor. On my way, I stopped at my starter and mountain base to collect the materials I would need to survive and build. I eventually wanted to make this new outpost self-sufficient and not have to travel back to my main every time I needed anything. After collecting everything I needed, I set sail once again for new lands.
There's our starting island. Here's the mountain. That thing's massive.
At this point, I had now surpassed my 100-hour milestone, and I have really enjoyed my time in hardcore so far. And I recommend, if you like Valheim, maybe you should give it a try yourself. If you made it this far, thank you for spending the last 2 hours with me. If you enjoyed this video and want to see the next 100 hours, let me know.